Chapter 5. The Crumbling Facade. Amanda's eyes flickered open, her body heavy, sluggish. She blinked against the dim light of the cryopod, the walls of the Astralis slowly coming into focus. A faint hiss filled the air as the pod lid lifted, releasing her from its icy grip. Her muscles ached, stiff from inactivity, and her breath came in shallow gasps, her mind still crawling its way back to consciousness. "How long did I set cryo for? I can't really remember," she quietly said to herself as her vocal cords started to loosen. The dreams lingered, fragments of twisted landscapes and shadows that weren't her own. Even now, awake in the cold metal belly of the ship, she could still feel the weight of the creature's presence in her mind. She shivered, unsure if the memory of its touch was real or some lingering remnant of her nightmares. She sat up slowly, her joints protesting the movement. Across the cryobay, Kurt was emerging from his own pod, his eyes bloodshot and weary. He caught her gaze and offered a tired smile. "We made it. I guess we're not dead yet." Though his voice was hoarse, there was uncertainty in it. But something was wrong. The Astralis was too quiet. There should have been a steady hum of systems booting up, the usual bustle of the ship coming back to life after a long sleep. But instead, there was only a thick, eerie silence punctuated by the soft crack of static over the ship's intercom. "Kurt," Amanda whispered, but he seemed just as disoriented as she was. Before either of them could speak again, the ship's computer interjected, its synthetic voice calm yet unnerving. "Crew members Amanda Rawlings and Kurt Hudson, welcome back. You have been in cryogenic sleep for approximately 50 years, 3 months, and 12 days. Amanda's stomach twisted as she rubbed the back of her freckled neck. 50 years? What the... Kurt muttered, running his hand through his hair, trying to hold back the vomit that long bouts of cryo usually resulted in. How did it take that long to repair the ship? The computer continued, unfazed by their confusion. During cryosleep, a rogue radio signal was intercepted. The Astralis has been pursuing the signal for approximately 39 years. We have now arrived at the source of the transmission. Amanda frowned, rubbing the sleep from her eyes. The ship's been pursuing a signal without our authorization? Kurt was already moving towards the nearest console, his fingers smeared across the interface in a half-asleep state, trying to make sense of the data. "Well, that's not supposed to happen," he said, his voice with confused concern. The signal contained complex data structures and advanced encryption, suggesting intelligent origin. It required further investigation. Amanda sheepishly asked, "Where are we?" The computer paused, as if to consider the answer. "You are now located in the Andromeda Galaxy, approximately 2.5 million light-years from the original position." She looked out at the starry sky from the nearest window. "Andromeda?" Kurt turned to her, his face in disbelief. "That's impossible. The Astralis couldn't have made that journey in 50 or even 1,000 years, not even close. The ship doesn't have that ability to go that fast, or far." Amanda's mind tried to wrap itself around what was being said and process what the computer was telling them. It didn't make sense. How could they have traveled so far, so quickly? She pulled up the ship's star charts, her breath still short from leaving cryo, as she saw the unfamiliar constellations. It was true. They were in another galaxy, far beyond anything humanity has ever explored, and they had no idea how they'd gotten there. "The signal?" Kurt interjected. "Where is it coming from, and what did it say?" The computer responded immediately. The signal originated from a nearby planet, visually indistinguishable from Earth. Amanda spit out the drink she was sipping on to regain electrolytes after being in cryo. "Wait, what did you say?" "The planet is identical to Earth in every measurable way. Typography, atmosphere, biosphere." Kurt swore under his breath, pulling up the visuals on the main screen. Amanda felt her knees go weak as she stared at the image. It was impossible. But there it was, a blue-green orb spinning lazily in a galaxy millions of miles from where it should be. Clouds swirled across its surface, wrapping around familiar continents. The oceans were glistening under the light of a distant sun. It was Earth, or at least it looked like it. "That's not possible," Kurt said, muttering to himself. "We saw Earth get destroyed. Are we even awake right now? Are we still dreaming?" Amanda's mind flashed back to the memory that they had witnessed of Earth's final moments. The solar flare, the cataclysmic explosion, and the terrible realization that their home was gone forever. Yet, here it was, floating before them as if nothing had happened. "This has to be some sort of sick joke," Amanda said, shaking her head in disbelief. "It can't be real. There's no way. All data available confirms the planet is Earth-like in every way. Further investigation is required to determine its true nature." Kurt sighed, leaning back in his chair. "We've got to have a look. I mean, we don't have a choice, do we?" Amanda didn't respond. Her thoughts spun with questions, her instincts screaming that something was very, very wrong. But what other option did they have? They were in a galaxy they didn't recognize, with no idea how they'd gotten there. They had to find answers, and this planet, whatever it was the only lead they had. "Let's suit up," she said finally. "Let's check it out." As the Astralis descended through the planet's atmosphere, Amanda's nails gripped the fabric of her armrests in almost excited anticipation. The ship rattled slightly as it passed through the thick clouds, but otherwise the descent was smooth. The land below unfolded before them in a disturbingly familiar pattern. They passed over continents that mirrored those of Earth. North America, South America, Europe, Africa, everything was exactly the same, down to the smallest detail. "This is insane." Kurt gripped Amanda's arm, staring out the window. "It's like we never left." They landed on the street that looked identical to the one Amanda had grown up on. But something was very different. The houses all lined up perfectly along freshly paved roads. Nothing like the scrappy neighborhood she remembered. Every lawn was trimmed to perfection, stretching out in all directions. It was unsettlingly quiet. No cars, no people, no signs of life at all. The whole place felt like it was stuck in some kind of weird, unnatural calm. Amanda and Kurt stepped out of the ship, their boots thumping against the concrete of the well-paved street. The air was warm, humid, and disturbingly familiar. "I don't like this," Amanda muttered, scanning the empty streets. "It's too perfect." Kurt knelt down, running his hand across the grass. "It's real," he said, his voice tinged with giddy disbelief. "Everything feels real." As they moved deeper into the doppelganger neighborhood, a strange sensation began to creep over Amanda. It was subtle at first, a faint pressure in the back of her brain. The further they walked, the stronger it became. Then she heard it. Amanda. She froze. It was the voice again, the same voice from her dreams. Amanda. Kurt stopped beside her. "Are you all right? You look like you've just seen a ghost." Amanda nodded slowly, waving her hand to signal that she was all right. Suddenly the ground trembled beneath their feet, a low rumble that seemed to come from deep below the surface. The houses around them flickered like static on a TV screen. The perfect facade of the neighborhood began to crack, revealing the truth beneath. "Look at that," Amanda whispered, her voice filled with unease. But before they could move, the world around them shifted. The sky darkened, and the houses began to dissolve, melting away like wax under a flame. The perfect streets crumbled into dust, revealing a desolate, metal alloy landscape beneath. Lights had been revealed on the now gray and silver ground, blinking in a steady pattern, leading them toward a staircase that had suddenly appeared in the middle of the street. They cautiously made their way down, step by step, half covered in dirt. It was some sort of alien structure with a dark, twisted design unlike any human had ever seen. Eventually, they arrived in the main chamber with bodies scattered like broken dolls. This appeared to be the remains of its inhabitants. What they found were alien creatures with spindly, withered limbs and elongated heads, and a small, almost pinprick-sized mouth. Their crooked, multi-jointed legs seemed far too delicate to support their uneven bodies, as they leaned against the walls or slumped down in grotesque-looking chairs. Amanda scanned the room for life signs once more, trying to figure out if anything was in control. But every alien they encountered was long dead, their bodies mummified, skeletal hands still clutching strange foreign controls. Before their demise, they looked as if they were orchestrating something. "What do you think happened here?" said Amanda. "Whatever did happen, this place had to have been a trap," Kurt said, his voice filled with awe and fear. Or at least it was a trap. If the signal wasn't coming from them, could it have been coming from something else? The signal wasn't from anything alive here. The planet, or whatever this metal world is, it must have been on some kind of autopilot, reading our minds to show us exactly what it wanted us to see to get us here. Amanda felt nauseous with the realization. The planet had recreated Earth because it had sensed their longing for it, their desperate hope for home. But it wasn't home. It was a crypt. The planet started to shake more and more as they made their way around the halls of the long-forgotten bait. With no head at the helm and no prey to trap, the craft or planet almost seemed to want to be forgotten. Whatever was here is gone, Amanda said with disappointment in her voice. We can't stay here. It was, or still is, a trap, and we don't know what else might be lurking around. There's nothing left for us here. We need to get back to the Astralis. As they moved back towards the ship, the ground started to violently tremble beneath them as the alien construct started to collapse in on itself. The illusion was gone, the trap laid bare, and whatever had been controlling it, whether machine or long-dead consciousness, had lost its grip. The Astralis roared to life as they ran aboard, lifting off from the crumbling remains of the false Earth. The radio signal faded into nothing as they broke through the atmosphere, leaving the haunted planet behind. But as they escaped through the emptiness of space, Amanda felt a small pain in the back of her thoughts, the one from her dreams, from her mind still watching, still waiting.